really allow a legal counsel to answer for and on behalf of his principal? Our rule says generally that a legal counsel, it should be the principal himself who should speak or answer the questions.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Mr. Chair, yes, I am part of I'm the legal officer of SMNI, so I'm one of, as invited by the committee to talk in behalf of SMNI. Yes. So I'm not just a legal counsel, but a legal officer of SMNI.
Yes, that was my question. Because if he was retained, or if it's on a retainer basis, then I would not have allowed you to speak.
Yes, yes.
So
me and Attorney Rolex Soplico are legal officers of SMNI.
yes, please proceed.
So,
editorial board ng kolehiyo naman ay tumulong sa pag-revive at maging operational ulit ang ating student publication sa UP Visayas College of Arts and Sciences. Kaya ganun kahalaga ang pagtingin po ng mga kabataan sa papel ng media sa ating bayan. And with many young journalists who also participate in different levels of the school's press conferences, hindi po magandang ehemplo ang nakikita natin sa forma ng mga ginagawa ng SMNI o itong Sunshine Media Network International. Sa mundo naman natin, natural na merong mga pagkakaiba ng opinyon. Pero sa hulit-huli, Mr. Chair, naniniwala ang kabataan na dapat lahat ng opinyon ay nagmumula sa katotohanan. Kung ano ang realidad, kung ano ang mga facts na meron tayo, yun yung pagmulan ng ating magiging mga gagawing opinyon. Pero kung yung mga opinyon ay hindi nakabatay sa kahit anumang katotohanan at nauuwi lamang sa mga baseless accusations, we must draw the line at dapat ay hindi natin hayaan ito. At dumulo na nga ang ganong naging trend ng mga baseless accusations and even red tagging sa death threat sa ating kapwa mambabatas. Mr. Chair, to quote, sabi pa, and I quote, "Gusto kitang patayin, but I want to kill you softly." End of quote. Meron pa, Mr. Chair, kayo, ikaw Franz, kayo mga komunista, ang gusto kong patayin. End of quote. And this is too much. Now, aside from, of course, our colleague who bravely spoke against these threats, nandyan din mismo kinikilala natin ang liderato ng Kamara na kinundi na din ang ganitong mga paratang, and even the international community has been paying attention. These statements and threats were condemned by the ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights and the Governing Council of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. Before I end, Mr. Chair, SMNI, its hosts, and its shows have repeatedly engaged in acts of dissemination of fake news and malicious red tagging. It habitually engages in the reporting as news of misleading claims, deliberately disseminating false information, willful misrepresentation, wild accusations, and red tagging against the opposition, critics, and officials of the government in violation of the terms of its legislative franchise and to the detriment of public interest. With that, Mr. Chair, we thank the committee for putting this in the agenda of today's committee meeting. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Manuel of the party list Kabataan. The chair now recognizes the Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable.
If I may request, Mr. Chair, that the entirety of my privileged speech serve as my sponsor's speech. But I would just like to request that portions of my speech I discuss before we proceed with today's hearing. If I may proceed, Mr. Chair. Okay. Thank you very much. The gist of my sponsorship of my privilege actually is not a privilege speech, but rather I rose on a question of personal and collective privilege. And this happened, I think, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or Tuesday? Tuesday. Based on a video that I saw early that day. And in that video, in one of the shows of SMNI, they stated that the House Speaker spent 1.8 billion pesos in traveling. And the conversation continued on and said na baka hindi 1.8 billion pesos lang. Baka humigit pa doon. Baka umabot pa ng 2 bilyon. At dinagdagan pa nung mga nasa panel, paano nyo gagastusin yun? Baka hindi na siya umuwi sa bahay. At bilang isang miyembro ng mababang kapulungan, I found these statements quite offensive with a lot of concern. Because as member and vice chair of the Committee on Appropriations, alam ko po kung magkano ang pondo ng House. At to a certain extent, kabisado ko rin yung mga pinagagastusan natin. At kagad-agad, dumulog ako sa Finance Department at tinanong ko kung magkano ang traveling expense ng House at ng Speaker. And I was given that figure. And after I found out the real figure, this was enough reason for me to stand up in plenary and deliver my speech. And my speech basically focused on SMNI coming out on national broadcast and stating a lie, fake news, with no disregard whatsoever to truth, to facts, and to fairness. And after that, after I delivered my speech last Tuesday, sinabi ko po nga sa speech ko na kung hihingi ng paumanhin o magre-retract, sana naman magawa nila para naman ma-repair yung damage that has been done. But sad to say, on the following day, another video was sent to me showing the same panelists stating that what they did was right. There was no wrong to the statement that they issued. Na ang ginawa lang daw po nila ay nagtatanong. But any responsible media practitioner, if given an information, would first validate that information before they go out on public.
Which is the franchise holder. Now, before I begin my interpellation, let us first define what is a franchise as defined by the Supreme Court in ABS-7 Corporation versus National Telecommunications Commission. The court defined a franchise as the privilege granted by the state through its legislative body, subject to regulation by the state itself by virtue of its police power through its administrative agencies. In short, Mr. Chair, the franchise grantee has no absolute right over the franchise, as a franchise is a special privilege granted by the state, which the state can also take back when common good so requires. The state, through Congress, has the exclusive authority to grant franchises for public utilities. Now, under Section 28, Rules of the House of Representatives, the House of Representatives has mandated the Committee on Legislative Franchise to act on matters directly and principally relating to the grant, amendment, extension, or revocation of the franchises. Now, under their franchise, Mr. Chair, there are several provisions, stipulations that must be complied with the franchise holder. Now, let me go to Section 4 of Republic Act number 11422. Section 4, responsibility to the public, meaning this is the responsibility provision which I will read. The grantee shall not use its stations or facilities for the broadcasting of obscene or indecent language, speech, act, or scene, or for the dissemination of deliberately false information or willful misrepresentation to the detriment of the public interest. Now, this committee would like to determine, Mr. Chair, whether the franchisee has not violated Section 4 of Republic Act number 11442. On November 28, in the morning of November 28, as stated by Congressman Suarez, the reason for his privileged speech, there was a show. I'm not well-versed on the show, but accordingly, upon reports, there was a show. The two anchors, or how many anchors, alleged that the House, through Speaker Martin Romualdez, spent 1.8 billion pesos in travel expenses. Now, I want to know, Mr. Chair, and I would like to establish, saan po nyo nakuha? I would like to direct my question to SMNI who could answer this. Mas mabuti ho sana, may I know from the COMSEC kung nandito ba yung mga anchor nung show na yon? And let me know what show was that. Mr. Chair, sino po ang sasagot?
SMNI.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and the members of this honorable committee. We come here in response to a letter invitation. It's only addressed to Mr. Marlon C. Rosete, President of Suarasug Media Corporation. Attorney Tino and I were engaged to assist the President, Marlon Rosete. We are not engaged to assist the anchors.
Pero, Mr. Chair, may I know kung dito ba yung mga anchor?
They're not here, Your Honor. They were not invited, Your Honor.
Were they invited, COMSEC? May I put it on record that during the next hearing, if there is another hearing, that this committee would invite the two anchors? Because I would like to establish whether your allegations of 1.8 billion pesos, kung totoo ba to, or is it baseless or unfounded? My first question, ewan ko kung masasagot po ninyo yon to the legal counsels. My first question would be, saan ho nyo nakuha yung source na 1.8 billion pesos?
The President will answer? Who will answer?
Can I answer, Your Honor?
Okay,
I'm the legal counsel of SMNI, Your Honor.
you're in-house or retained?
In-house, Your Honor.
Okay, please.
The SMNI would like to invoke the SOTO law, with the Republic Act 11458.
Mr. Chair. Yes.
Would the rules of the committee allow a legal counsel to answer for and on behalf of his principal? Our rule says generally that a legal counsel, it should be the principal himself who should speak or answer the questions.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I am part of I'm the legal officer of SMNI, so I'm one of, as invited by the committee to talk in behalf of SMNI. So I'm not just a legal counsel, but a legal officer of SMNI.
Yes. That was my question. Because if he was retained, or if it's on a retainer basis, then I would not have allowed you to speak.
Yes.
So,
So me and Attorney Rolex Soplico are legal officers of SMNI.
yes, please proceed.
So,
Mr. Chair, invoking the SOTO law does not answer my question. That is a totally different matter. Ang tanong ko simple lang po, saan ho nyo nakuha, what was your basis to allege that Congress spent 1.8 billion pesos? We have to know the source.
Mr. Chair, we were not hired or engaged by the anchor, Eric or Dr. Badoy, but we were legal officers of SMNI. So we are not authorized to answer in behalf of the anchors.
So in short, Mr. Chair, you are not in a position to answer the question.
And second, Mr. Chair, there is a disclaimer of SMNI that any statement made by the anchors are not the official stand of SMNI.
Yes, Mr. Chair, although it might not be your special stand, but still, you are the franchise shareholder and you are responsible for the provisions stated in your franchise. We are talking about Section 4. Now, we are trying to establish whether you are in violation of this section. Now, also, with regards to the Broadcaster Code of the Philippines, news report shall be factual. So, kailangan factual yung report ninyo. Now, aside from that,
Mr. Chair,
news sources, only news that can be attributed to a source shall be aired. So, kung ganon, kung wala kayong source, igawa-gawa lang ho ninyo yun. So in short, Mr. Chair, it is very clear na ginamit lang ng MSNI to smear campaign against Congress. Ay, ang dami yung violations sa Broadcaster Code, ay yung Section 4. So, that is at saka yung mga statements ng dalawang anchor persons, but unfortunately, they were not in a position to answer our questions. So, nandito na po yung dalawang anchor person. Tanungin ko po kayo, sino po yung nagsabi na merong 1.8 billion pesos na ginastos ang Kongreso para sa traveling expenses, Mr. Chair?
May I request the honorable committee members and the chairman to allow me to answer about the question. Ako po yung nagsabi sa forma ng pagtatanong mula po sa dalawang pinanggalingang impormasyon na pumasok po sa amin, particularly sa akin. And hindi po yung buong Kongreso ang tinutumbok ng pagtatanong na yon, kung hindi ang Office of the Speaker ni Speaker Martin Romualdez. So to give context to that, in-interview po namin si former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission Chairperson Greco Belica tungkol 1.1 billion na allegations sa travel expenses ni Secretary Loizaga ng DENR. Live via Zoom siya. And then pumasok po yung unang impormasyon. Yung isang impormasyon ay unlisted number sa cellphone ko. Yung isa po ay kilala ko na source. At dati ko na po siyang nakakausap nung ako po ay nasa National Operations Command ng NPA. So matagal ko na siyang kilala at nagbibigay siya ng mga impormasyon noon nung ako'y aktibo pa sa NPA. So nagtutugma yung kanilang pagtatanong. Ka-Eric kindly ask the resource persons, former Secretary Greco Belica, kung totoo ba na may 1.8 billion na umabot na expenses si Speaker Martin Romualdez from the travel. So ako po yung unang nagbungad niyan habang ini-interview namin si Secretary Greco Belica. At ang source ko po, ang isa ay unlisted number sa text message, pero tumugma po doon sa isang source na kilala ko. And yun po ang dahilan kung bakit kami nagbungad noon without any intent of malice or imputing any sign of disrespect to the Speaker of the House, because it is we presume it is part of our editorial authority and policy as well to open questions pertaining to public interest issues. And sinabi namin na sana magpaliwanag ito si Speaker Martin Romualdez or ang House of Representatives as a matter of our obligation under the editorial authority provided by SMNI sa mga anchors.
Mr. Chair, Kyrick, when you delivered your statement, you presumed that your source was correct. Kayo po ba ay naniniwala na may 1.8 billion pesos na ginastos ang Kongreso para sa travel expenses?
Your Honor, kung naniniwala pa ako outright, hindi ibig sabihin affirmative ka agad ang posisyon ko. Yung tono po ng pag-deliver sa buong konteksto ng programa ay pagtatanong, clarification, because we want to clarify matters of public interest that are so serious, like the information na ibinahagi po sa amin. So wala po kaming conclusion doon.
Alam, Mr. Chair, may we know sino po ang source ninyo?
May I request Your Honor to refer to the legal advice of the legal team from the SMNI.
I don't think, Mr. Chair, I have to refer to the legal counsel. Kayo po ang tinatanong ko, kay Eric. Sino po ba ang source ninyo? Remember that you're under oath.
Yes.
And under our house rules, if you cannot answer my question truthfully, we can cite you for contempt and we can detain you. So again, let me ask you again, Mr. Chair. Sino po bang source ninyo?
Again, may I request Your Honor to be guided properly on my legal rights and on my legal basis and foundation to appropriately answer the question of the Honorable Congressman so that I will be protected also of my constitutional and legal rights before I give the answer to a very sensitive request from the Honorable Congressman.
Mr. Chair, may I...
Yeah, Honorable Franz Castro.
Kasi Mr. Chair, yung ating dalawang lawyer dito, they are corporate lawyers and they are not lawyer of individual anchor. So yun po ang sabi nila.
Alam po ninyo, bago po kayo dumating, kaklaruhin ko lang po yung sabi ni Cong Castro. Kanina po, tinatanong po namin yung kayo. Ang sagot ko nila, hindi nandito para depensahan ang mga anchor namin. Andito kami for SMNI. Ergo, wala po silang sinasabi na wala silang otoridad na depensahan kayo. That's why, transversely, now that we're asking you, and they already manifested under oath that they cannot, they're not here to defend you or to even assist you. Therefore, we're asking, and you will have to be very clear that the question of the Honorable Pimentel should be answered directly by you.
Mr. Chair,
Kasi po, pinag-usapan po natin klaro naman po kayo kanina, tatlong beses kami nagtanong sa inyo
Yes,
diba, tatlong beses mo kasi hanapin natin sa transcript, andyan yan.
Yes.
Hindi ko kami nandito para depensa ng mga anchor namin. Katunayan, may disclaimer nga kami dyan Kung ano sabihin nila, wala kaming pakialam. Ganyan sabi nyo kanina
Yes, Mr. Chair.
That's
your answer, Mr. Chair.
Now that you've said that, we cannot entertain that request because you manifested that earlier.
But for purposes of due
Mr.
process...
Chair, again, ulitin ko, malapit na akong uminit ng ulo. I will move to cite you in contempt for not obeying our rules.
Again, sorry for that, Mr. Chair.
Kami nga tahimik dito. Inaantay namin yung permission ng chairman. Ikaw naman, resource person dito. Daldal ka ng daldal.
Thank you, the Honorable
I'd like to apologize for that, Mr. Chair.
Yes. So now, please answer the question of the Honorable Pimentel.
Mr. Chair, again, may I ask kay Eric, sino po bang source ninyo dito sa sinasabi ninyong kumastos ang Kongreso ng 1.8 billion pesos para sa traveling expenses?
Your Honor, if I may respectfully be allowed to request the honorable body, this committee, since the question, I think, borders to my right about the protection of my source as well as to my constitutional right, may I humbly request the committee, are my constitutional rights suspended in this committee hearing? Because it is my right, I believe, to have a legal advice on sensitive matters that require for me to be protected by my constitutional right. So, without offense meant to the honorable members of this committee, may I be allowed to exercise the constitutional right for me to have a counsel to properly advise me on legally sensitive question, which I believe may deem into the encroachment of my fundamental constitutional guarantee of rights in the Constitution.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, the Honorable Acop is recognized.
we as a body or individually are not suppressing the rights of Mr. Celis. We're just asking him a question. If he wants to answer so, he answers. If not, he tells us the reason why he will not be able to answer. Di po ba? Hindi naman namin sinusuppress yung right mo rito We're not. We're just asking you a question. Now, if you prefer to answer it, do so. If not, then you say so. Why not? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And also, it's not infringing, it is not an incriminatory, it's not incriminatory, therefore you cannot cite the right to self-incrimination.
Mr. Chair, aside from this and more than that, we are not conducting hearing under a court of law. We're conducting hearing in Congress. And I'm not very sure if you are entitled to a legal counsel. Hindi naman to kaso itong inaatubag natin. This is an inquiry in aid of legislation. And it's a simple question because what we are trying to determine here, Mr. Chair, iko yung sinabi ho ninyo, totoo ba yun o hindi? Based on the privileged speech of Congressman J.J. Romualdez, J.J. Suarez, we would like to know, kasi baka naman tainted itong source mo, whether this was politically motivated. In fact, hindi ko nga alam kung bakit na pinalabas ninyong 1.8 billion pesos yung traveling expenses ni Speaker, when in fact, for your enlightenment, Yusek Lorraine and Kaeri, Mr. Chair, andito po yung finance officer natin. Nandito po din kanina si Secretary General Velasco para matinigo lang ninyo to Mr. Bobby Maling. Magkano ang ginastos ng Kongreso at ni Speaker for this year para sa traveling expenses? Para madinig po ni Kaeri at saka ni Lorraine.
With your permission, Mr. Chair, for the Office of the Speaker, the total expenses for the travel is 4.3 million, more or less, Mr. Chair. And for the other expenses, for the other official expenses, it's 35.2 million, Mr.
Okay. Mr. Chair, it is very clear po, no, Kaeri and Lorraine. Ang ginastos lang po ni Speaker Romualdez was 4.3 million pesos from January to October. Ang Kongreso was 35 million. So ang kabuuan po ng gastos ng Kongreso, including yung travel ni Speaker, was only 39 million pesos. Pero yung sa show ninyo, ang sinabi nyo kay Speaker lang ang binanggit ninyo, hindi yung sa Kongreso. So actually, it was only 4.3 million pesos. Napakalayo naman po doon sa sinabi nyo na 1.8 billion pesos. Hindi po kaya na ginagamit ninyo ang SMNI for a smear campaign? Because in the recent months, ilang mga shows, ilang mga programa ng SMNI was directed to malign, to attack Congress as an institution. Kaya po tanong ko, baka naman yung programa ninyo ginagamit na rin yan para atakihin ang Kongreso. Kaya we need to know yung source ninyo. Because if not, baka naman gawa-gawa lang ninyo na yung sinasabi nyong source, wala naman kayong source. Yan ang gusto naming malaman, kung ito ba ay gagawa-gawa ninyo or according to you, there is a source. Because we want also to know whether SMNI is liable for the violation of Section 4 of your franchise. Sinasabi kanina ni Attorney Tolentino, meron silang disclaimer. But on the other hand, there is a conflict. But on the other hand, may disclaimer nga sila na wala daw silang pakialam sa kung anong sabihin ng mga anchor persons. However, he said that your talents of SMNI paid by SMNI. So that disclaimer does not apply. Mag-apply lang siguro yung disclaimer if you're a black timer. But according to SMNI officials, you are talents of SMNI. So directly, you are under their management and supervision. Kaya dapat, Mr. Chair, sources you said, yung unang source, taga saan ba? Or from where? From media ba? From Congress?
Mr. Chair, may I please say something first, Mr. Chair?
Could I?
The question is directed to Eric. So, can you please reply?
Mr. Chair, I'm directing the question to Eric because he said earlier, I asked both of them, sabi niya siya nagsalita nung sa 1.8 billion pesos. Gusto natin ma-certain, sinasabi niya may dalawang source siya. Saan nga nanggaling yung source, Mr. Chair? Until now, napakasimpleng tanong po ito, this is not self-incriminating because we are not under the court of law. This is only an inquiry in aid of legislation. Kung natatakot po kayo kakasuhan, ano naman ikakaso sa inyo? Isasabihin lang naman ninyong source. Alis, sabi ko nga, wala talagang source.
May I be allowed to reply to the question, Mr. Chairman, please, and to the Honorable Congressman. I believe in the practice of journalism, the protection of the integrity and the trust and confidence of the source in the stories or in the information gathered related to stories are sacred. They are like contracts. If not legally, as a contract, sacred po yun para sa mga journalist. Nandito yung mga media. I know how they also feel kapag pinilit sila na ang source nila, ilabas nila doon sa mga sensitibong impormasyon. So yun po ang aking inaalala. Dahil ang source ko na ito, Congressman Pimentel, sir, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, matagal ko na siyang source nung nasa NPA pa ako. At wala po akong pag-aalangan na ang kanya mga impormasyon na ibinibigay ay tumutugma doon sa mga impormasyon na nakukuha ko when I was still part of the National Intelligence Unit of the NPA National Operations Command. So kilala ko siya. The other source, sinabi ko na po, Your Honors, ito po ay unlisted number. Dinilin ko siya, pero nagulat lang ko na tumugma sa isang source na kilala ko. And I had a meeting with him. May pinakita siya, yun tuloy, na-reveal ang gender, na lalaki siya. I had a meeting with the source at may pinakita sa mga documents. Hindi kagad kami nag-conclude because I have to seek audience and guidance from the Auditorial Authority of SMNI. But the question was posed immediately because the source texted us during the interview live kay former Secretary Greco Belica. So nang kinausap ko siya, sabi ko we need the documents to sustain the discussion. So hindi po ito smear campaign or isang kampanyang orchestrated para sumira sa imahen at integridad ng House of Representatives. I believe sakop po ito ng tamang paglulunsad ng press freedom at gawaing pang journalist yung ginagawa namin. Dahil kami po ay naniniwala na public interest issue na magkaroon ng pagpapaliwanag sa pamamagitan po ng paghahayag na ito, kagaya ng we are now very enlightened. Thank you so much, Your Honors, na sinabi po dito na less than 5 million pala yung expenses ni Speaker Martin Romualdez at yung buong House of Representatives ay nasa 35 million lang. So kung inilahat namin ito as a series of special report, we need vetting and verification dun sa source. Hindi ko po siya pwedeng ma-reveal because pag na-reveal siya, there were a lot of information na naibigay niya noon sa amin nung nasa NPA ako na pinagkatiwala niya sa akin dahil kami ay may mabuting relasyon tungkol sa secrecy of information. So kaya po ako humihingi ng pag-unawa ng body na ito na kapag ito po siya ay ma-reveal, baka maraming makakalkal na mga impormasyon na hindi na kailangan po.
Sinasabi kanina ni Eric na tumutugma. Kanina pa she's right, saying the word how many times yung tumutugma. Sa tingin ba ninyo tumutugma yung 1.8 billion pesos dun sa 4.3 million pesos na it is on record, it is a public document, we can release that to the public? Napakalayo naman. Ba't ka magsasabi na tumutugma? Wala namang pagtutugma yung 1.8 billion pesos to 4.3. It's a simple arithmetic. Napakalayo naman po. And then you said earlier, Mr. Chair, si Eric, sabi niya na binibet yung source. In this case, very clear, you did not bet your source. Paano naman yung sasabi mong 1.8 ano? Kung nagtanong lang kayo dito sa Kongreso, magkano mas lalong tutugma doon ano, pero yung sinasabi mo yun, walang pagtutugma yun. That's why 1.8 billion pesos compared to 4.3 million pesos.
Your Honor, if I
alam ko, Mr. Chair, kaya
source mo, baka naman politically motivated yan. Baka naman yung source mo ay isang politiko na gusto lang manira. As you've said, kailangan i-vet, but very clear, it was not vetted, yung source mo. Paano magiging 1.8 billion pesos ang 4.3 million pesos?
Sir, if I...
Ato, tatanong ko sa iyo, Mr. Chair, you are part of media. Hindi kaya nasunog ka dun sa informasyon na binigay sa iyo?
Sir, may I reply?
Yes, you may now reply.
Thank you, sir. Baka na, with due respect kay Congressman Pimentel, hindi ko po sinasabi na tumutugma doon sa data na inirelease ng Finance Committee. Tumutugma yung source ko doon sa nag-text. Kahit na-review ko natin yung record, naka-record po naman tayo lahat, tumutugma, kaya ko binigyan ng pagkakataon na bigyan ng atensyon, Congressman Pimentel, sir, Your Honor. Tumutugma yung unang text doon sa ibinigay na information din ng source.
Yeah, I know, I understand yung Mr. Chair. Sinasabi mo, kino-compare mo yung unang source mo doon sa pangalawang source mo. Sinasabing pareho, which is pareho silang mali.
Yes,
di ba? Ngayon, Mr. Chair, tanong ko sa iyo, aminin mo ba na mali yung impormasyon mo?
Ngayon po.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, that's why we need vetting. Kaya nga hindi namin inilabas as a special report or news. It was a
Anyway, Mr. Chair,
It was a committee.
very clear, it is on record, it is on the minutes, inaamin po ninyo na nagkamali kayo ng information ninyo dahil sa nasabi nyo 1.8 pero 4.3 lang. Now, since nagkamali kayo, are you willing to recant your statements and apologize to Congress?
If that will heal the wound of the degree of an amount of insult that was forwarded to Congress, kung ganun pong epekto niyan, wala pong problema sa akin personally yon. Because trabaho po namin na kilalanin ang pagkakamali kung may pagkakamali. Pero trabaho din po namin ang magtanong kung may dapat itanong. Ang pagpapaliwanag po sa mga datos na ito ay isang oportunidad na nanggaling doon sa pagtatanong. And we are very much willing to admit that indeed the source was wrong. In this committee hearing, we are very appreciative of the guidance provided by us by the data. Sa tanong ni Honorable Congressman Pimentel, am I ready to personally apologize to Speaker Martin Romualdez and to the House of Representatives for the effect of insult created by that kind of questioning, which is now being given a proper enlightenment? Yes, sir. My answer is on the affirmative, Congressman Pimentel.
Mr. Chair, Eric, the matter that we're discussing is not a matter of insult. What we're discussing or what we're deliberating is what is the truth. Yung po hindi naman ibig sabihin na we are conducting an inquiry dahil na-insultong Kongreso, na-insultong institution. We are conducting this inquiry kasi lumalabas nga mali yung balita na pinalabas ninyo. Yun lang po naman ang gusto naming matuwid. Kung mali yun, you accept the fact na nagkamali po kayo. Because hindi lang ito yung cases na nangyari sa Smni. Earlier, wala pa po kayo. Si Atty. Domingo has already stated that there have been many cases that have been filed against Smni. Sa pang-aapi nga, sa mga individual. So, it seems that Smni is going to that direction where it is being used, the franchise is being used to attack individuals. Yun, dapat hindi naman yun ang mandato ninyo. It is very clear in Section 4 that you should not disseminate fake news or unverified reports. And then, kanina nga, sinabi ni Attorney Tolentino that yes, there are many cases, but they have not been found guilty. It's not a matter of being convicted, but rather, although it's true, wala pa hong guilty verdict yung mga kaso, but the fact remains that there have been so many cases filed against SMI simply means that meron ho kayong mga violations. Simply means na marami na kayong inatake kasi kung wala, edi wala sanang kaso.
Iba ho yung matter ng being found guilty. But the fact still remains na kaya nga kayo pinailan ng kaso as what Atty. Domingo has said because of your vicious attacks on individuals. And ngayon, inaatake na naman ninyo ang Kongreso, which has been done before. Hanggang kailan kayo magtitigil? Sana naman po, this should just be a reminder to the anchor persons na bago kayo magpalabas sa mga reports ninyo, sabi mo nga, kailangan i-vet this time around, hindi nyo na-vet ng insakto because reputations of individuals and political leaders are at stake. So sana naman po, huwag na nyo ang gamitin yung programa ninyo para sa pag-atake ng mga individual. But rather, sabi nga ninyo, yung programa nyo, laban para sa bayan. Hindi na laban para sa bayan nyo, kundi pag-atake na sa mga individual. So yun lang po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. Ang speaker ay gumastos ng 1.8 billion pesos sa traveling. Hindi lang yun. Baka madagdagan pa yan kung isasama yung entourage. Baka umabot pa ng 2 billion. Dinagdagan pa. At sinabi, how do you spend 1.8 billion pesos? Umuwi pa ba siya sa bahay? That's not a question, attorney. That is, at the very least, malicious innuendo. At the very least. But from where I'm standing, that is a direct accusation to the House of Representatives. Now, SMNI, sabi nyo, paid talents nyo yun. Hindi na nga dumaan sa KPP Code of Ethics at Seminar at wala silang certification. At alam nyo, yung manner kung paano nila kinukondak yung sarili nila, at the very least, dapat pinagsabihan nyo sila. Tapos yan sinasabi nyo, meron kayong ginagawang internal investigation ngayon.
Ongoing, Mr. Chair.
But what is sad is the following day, they came out again on TV, justifying what they said. Saying that what we said, dapat hindi kayo nasaktan kasi question lang yon. Di sana ang sinabi ninyo, yung nilabas po namin kahapon, ay yun po ay hindi po verified. Katanungan lang po yun. Kasi ang nilabas nyo po doon, ay is a direct statement about an amount I don't know where you got. That's why I post this challenge on you. If you can prove that the 1.8 billion pesos is true, I'll resign. But if I can prove that the 1.8 billion that your program said is false, lagay nyo dito yung prangkisa nyo on the line. Kaya ka?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Hindi, yes or no?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Chair. I'm just a lawyer, and that's not part of my authority. But before...
Kasi lang, kaya ka?
No, Mr. Chair.
Hindi. So kasi alam nyo nang alanganin.
Because I have no authority, Mr. Chair, to
kasi alam nyo alanganin. Alanganin kasi yung statement ninyo. Nandiyan si Presidente, yung President, Mr. Dapat paninindigan nyo kasi mahirap yung ganon. Hindi nyo na nga pinindigan yung Twitter post niyo na wala na nga sa Twitter. Tapos yung statement nyo, hindi nyo pa paninindigan. So,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. President, can you please answer the question raised by the Honorable Suarez?
I have no right to decide. I think I have to ask the board of directors.
Okay. And, okay, so the question raised by Honorable Suarez is an answer that he's requesting now, but I don't know if he's willing to defer until tomorrow, or he's willing to resign any time today. If you're willing to put your franchise also down,
if they can prove that their statement of 1.8 billion pesos is true, okay. But if they cannot,
okay. So
violation of their franchise. Now, question, anyway, we'll move to that later on. Medyo nangangatog na yata yung tuhod nito. Who's yung executive producer ng show?
Miss Noemi Parane, sir.
Who?
Miss Noemi Parane, Your Honor.
Is he here with us today?
No. She's not invited.
Is he within the vicinity? Can he be, no? Can she be invited? Can she be invited?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ano pong pangalan? Can you please state her name again?
I'm Marlon Rosete.
Hindi po. Yung executive producer.
Noemi Parane po.
Ha?
Noemi Parane.
Yeah. Noemi. Yeah. So can we please invite the executive producer to the committee? Is she within the area lang? Nasaan po kaya siya, sir?
Nasa Makati, Your
Hindi, malapit lang pala. Baka pwede rin po natin maantay. Kasi yung dalawa yata news anchor niya parating na, di ba?
Parang nasa vicinity na po, Your Honor.
Ha?
Nasa vicinity na po. Tinawag, sinundo na po, Your Honor.
Okay, fantastic. So, anyway, I'll reserve my other questions for my next round.
Shots. KBP. Is KBP here? Nag-CR. Okay, mamaya na. Balik muna tayo sa SMNI. For the President, does SMNI monitor, supervise, or exercise oversight over the content of its programs?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's clear. So, in spite of the disclaimer, you're now saying that you have an oversight. Okay. Can you describe the extent of your monitoring, supervision, and oversight of your program content?
We have a regular editorial meeting.
How often?
Once, twice a week, Your Honor.
Okay. So, so when you say editorial meeting, the content is discussed.
Yes, Your Honor.
The content.
But we cannot ask them what to ask, what to say.
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
But the discussion of the budget of the speaker of 1.8 was discussed in your editorial meeting.
No, Your Honor.
So how did it come into the program? Paano na pag-usapan if the content is discussed in your editorial meeting?
Random po yun, Your Honor.
And do you think that that's in line with your policy and you allow that?
No, that's why we have an ongoing internal investigation right now.
How long does it take? It's been 3 days.
I think I'm not in the position to